Okay, I wanted to do a really quick update on a new utility. It's a new plugin for STK 10. It's for communication systems. It's actually a spectrum analyzer. It's available on our website. If you're unfamiliar with how to get these, you can simply go to agi.com. You can go to our product explorer, and on the left-hand side of the screen, you'll notice a couple of check boxes that you can check off the different types of objects that you're showing in the product explorer. Plugins is an option. I don't think it's checked by default, so you can double check and make sure that you have that checked off. And you'll notice a couple of different plugins that are available on the website. At the very bottom of the page for me, it lists this new Spectrum Analyzer. This is a free, and as it's noted, it's a beta product right now. But it's just a UI plugin for STK 10. So once you've downloaded that and installed it, you'll notice that you now have a new toolbar option. If you right-click your toolbar, you'll see the Spectrum Analyzer. And the Spectrum Analyzer is a extra utility that you can launch. And first of all, let me set up my scenario so we can see what's going on. What I've done is created a quick, simple aircraft route. This is just using the Great Arc Propagator in STK 10. It's very quick and simple. So I've created an aircraft route and a facility location. So if I zoom into my aircraft, what I've done is actually set up a transmitter on the aircraft and put a receiver at my facility location. Now this transmitter, I've actually created this to be a dipole antenna, and I've utilized some of the properties of the transmitter to create this as a complex type of transmitter, meaning that I have a little more freedom over the simple version of a transmitter or receiver, in the sense that I can define what type of antenna I'm using. I can give a couple of extra parameters and properties of my transmitter that I couldn't do with a simple receiver. So if I open up the properties for that, you'll see I can define frequency, power, data rate. I can choose what type of antenna I'm using. In this case, I've chosen one of the built-in antenna types, which is a dipole, and I can supply a couple of characteristic properties to that. I've also added a specific filtering type to my transmitter, and for my modulation, I've included the use of signal PSD. So I'm doing spectral density for my transmitter. And when I make all of these selections, I'll be able to utilize that Spectrum Analyzer plugin. So if I've set this up, I've set up my transmitter. I've also set up similarly a receiver. So if I zoom to my facility, I'll notice that my receiver is also set up in a similar way. This is just a dipole receiver, complex receiver as well. So once I've got those set up, what I really want to point out is that when I launch this Spectrum Analyzer, it will bring up my Spectrum Analyzer window. Now what I've been able to notice here is that I've centered my frequency in my window to 14.5 gigahertz, and that's exactly the center frequency that I'm using for my transmitter. And what's interesting to see with this tool is that not only can I take a look at different bandwidths by using the dials to expand or retract those, as well as the vertical scale of my display, but when I make changes to my transmitter, in this case, let me open up my transmitter properties, and I'll go to my filter, and you'll see that I'm using a specific type of filter here. If I make a change, maybe I want to use a Butterworth filter instead, I select that and I click apply, and I'll immediately in my Spectrum Analyzer window see those changes take effect. So I can make a lot of changes in here, my upper and lower bandwidth limits to my filter. I can even change my center frequency if I wanted to on my model itself, and I should see those effects inside of my Spectrum Analyzer. So this is a new plugin. I would encourage users to go ahead and download this if you have an interest in it. It's free, and like I said, it is a beta, so there may be some bugs, or you may uncover some issues. But for the most part, while I've been utilizing this and using this and testing it out, it's been relatively stable. So it's kind of a cool little tool. it's a great example of integration with STK and how you can utilize your own applications or write your own plugins and do some very cool applications similar to this one. Okay, so thanks a lot.